Hi, I'm Angelica Prather. I have some exciting news. I'm on TV. Yes, you heard me right. I'm on television. The Chair's Blueprint is coming to you in the midst of your home, sitting on the couch with a blanket, in the midst of your salon suite, in the midst of your break room, or it can be your Monday's educational class for your employees in the salon. So what does that mean? Let me just tell you what that means, okay? You can download Dream World Media Group on your Roku television or on your Roku device. It's free. All you have to do is download, open, and connect with me live. And if you miss it, don't worry, it's on demand. You can watch it over and over and over again. So let's connect, share with your family and friends, hair besties, and let's go. Bringing some gems, dropping the best of the best in the industry, giving you all that I have so that you can win in your business. Let's go. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's of the Chair's Blueprint. I am your host, Angelica Prather, and my ultimate goal is to equip beauty professionals and entrepreneurs to carve out your unique path and blueprint of success. Why are we in business? To leave a legacy. And for those who are joining us, whether you're on the Roku or you're watching us live on my website or you're on YouTube, I just want to simply say thank you for taking the time out to join me today. I am really excited about this episode because there's something a little dear to my heart, as I probably say on every show, but I want to just take time to thank you guys for being here, right? And for me, it is so important in business when you are trying to get to whatever level it is, right? Because we all have different levels of success, but you cannot do that alone. And community is vital. It is so vital. And it's one of the pieces of my success, right? And for me to be successful, I would not be here or even sharing my story or sharing a stage with other experts and other leaders in this field without community. And actually, my guest today is a part of my community, so it's very, very dear to me. But for those who might be catching me for the first time or a second time, or you just don't know who I am an income strategist, business coach, and a speaker, and I help beauty professionals through my signature program, Charge Your Worth Academy, which is a 6-month group coaching program teaching Black beauty professionals and entrepreneurs how to carve out their unique blueprint, right? But how to articulate their value, how to charge for their services, and just create a solid foundation in their business from a financial aspect. That is what I do, and I love it. But before I was any of those things, I was a hairstylist. And as a hairstylist, I had success behind the chair, a salon owner, and I learned a lot by being in business. Some of it was a little rocky, but with community, they were able to help me get to that place. But that is what Charge Your Worth Academy has come out of, my failures and my successes. And it's been a wonderful journey supporting my beauty professionals. I call them mine because they're in the program and they just are so dear to me. But one of the things that's super important to me is community. So I'm going to just see who's in the crowd and who's in the chat and joining us today. So we have Samurai in the chat. Thank you for joining. It's always a pleasure. He says, hello, fam. Then we have Ajako, Attorney Browne is in the chat. Thank you for joining. That's our special guest today. Then we have Dream World Media Group in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Super excited about that. And then I have Alicia Brown. Thank you for joining. It's really excited having you guys all here. And if you hadn't had a chance to connect with me outside of here, I do have my own website. Go to angelicaprather.com and you'll be able to connect with me there. That's where if you have a beauty professional or you know a beauty professional by any means, send them over. Like I said, I'm all about community, right? So you can come in and join, just put your email address in and you can join my newsletter and just different things like that, right? Whatever's going on in my life, okay? But today, as I said, I have Attorney Browne here. And let me just tell you a little bit about her and why I'm so excited to have her here. So as a hairstylist myself, I always say in business, you need to have your network right? And so it's so vital that you have people in your community that will really help you thrive. Well, Attorney Browne is just that for me. She is my personal attorney in my camp, right? But she also has partnered with Charge Your Worth Academy to help students, because that's not my area of expertise, but it's also vital for me to partner them with people who are going to help build their business. So today we're going to be talking about protecting our Black businesses. And for those who know, we are celebrating Black history, and I'm super, super excited about celebrating because as an African American, at one point in time, we weren't able to celebrate. And now we have a platform and we're going to use it to our best ability. So if you're a supporter of Black businesses, whether you are not, if you're not Black or anything like that, that doesn't take away. You can celebrate with us. Join the party, okay? Because we're here to party, okay? But one of the things that I'm super, super excited about is because when it comes to business, we are in a season where we are super excited to build business. We see that we're in a resignation season, right? Everybody is literally jumping to entrepreneurship. But here's the thing, Black businesses are thriving more than they have ever been. But there comes some challenges when there's a lack of knowledge of knowing how to build your foundation right. So Attorney Browne is going to be here. She's going to be the professor for today. And I say professor because she's going to school me. I'm going to be taking notes with y'all. So if you do not have your pens and papers available, you want to make sure that you have them available, because she's going to be spitting some really good gems, even for those who have been in business. Every time I talk to her, I am always learning something new. And I'm like, if I have a question that I'm unsure about, she is there to help me throughout every step of the way. So I'm going to take a quick ad break and then we're going to bring her on the stage. So get your pens, get your pads, get ready, because she's going to be giving us some goodness. Okay, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Angelica Prather. I've been a hairstylist for 17 years, so I know exactly what it takes to run a business. But I wanted to step up and show up and support my own community so they can start charging their worth. No longer are we on the struggle bus. Nobody has time for that. So I've created Charge Your Worth Academy. You have me teaching you one-on-one in a group coaching setting, implementing the systems and strategies, the recipe to really win financially. Nobody's on a broke wheel. But if you're ready to charge your worth and you're tired of figuring it out all by yourself, this is how you can join. Go to my website, which is angelicaprather.com. And if you happen to be here right now, there is a button down below. Click that button and be ready to join. And so just a little bit of tip, you also get a complimentary 100% free income strategy call. And so what that is you're just talking to me one-on-one, getting to know where you are, where you desire to go, and what's missing from your business. And if you're a perfect fit, you'll join the program. I'll see you soon. Alrighty, so welcome back. All right, so before we get into bringing a Jocko to the stage, of course, you've seen the ad. Charge Your Worth Academy is currently open for enrollment. So for those who are beauty professionals or service-based providers, book your income strategy calls, because we're going to be closing the doors very, very soon. And I want to make sure that we just have a conversation and see where you are at. So that is that. So as I said, we are going to be talking about protecting our business, building the foundation the right way. You know, it's not enough to just have a business or to say you have a business. For Black businesses, we can't just go around and saying we got a business. We got to do this right. And especially if we want to build legacy and we want longevity in our business. So this show is for entrepreneurs, beautypreneurs. If you are a content creator, if you're in the entertainment space, yes, I talk to beauty professionals, but anyone who has an idea that wants to even start or has already started needs this conversation. So I urge you that even if someone's not on and listening live, share this with them, because I can guarantee you the information that's going to be shared today is not something we're having a conversation with our homies. We're not having it at the gym. We're not even having it at the salons where we are, right? We're not having these conversations, and it's definitely not happening in our homes. So you need to definitely share with somebody. So I urge you, if you are listening live, share it with somebody. So let's bring Miss Attorney Browne to the stage. Hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here today.
Absolutely. It's such a joy having you. So, I would botch your titles and all of the amazing things that you do, but I would not like to do that. So, tell the people who you are and what
Okay.
exactly that you do.
Okay. So my name is Attorney Ajako Brown. I'm the founder of Brown Law. I'm also the founder of the Black Women's Group Law Group, so which is focused on helping young professionals who want to enter the law group kind of steer them through that process, which is a whole nother story. Maybe we'll talk about it later. But specific to this chat, I am the founder of Brown Law, which is a law firm that is primarily serving customers virtually. So our slogan is we meet you when you need us where you are, to make it more comfortable, easy, and accessible for folks to get an attorney, to meet with their attorney, and to get the counsel that they need. Um, yeah, so that's who I am. And I'm, again, just very happy to be here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure having you here. But I just want to point out something that she said. She said she meets you where you are. So that is vital for knowing that if you don't know an attorney or you have no connections with an attorney, she's going to meet you where you are. Now everything is virtually, so there's no reason for you not to reach out. All of her information is going to be in the description of this video. So if you're looking for her information, or you're listening maybe on the podcast or you're doing something else, it's all going to be available in this video. So no worries, okay? And I'm so excited because as a young entrepreneur, when I first got started, I did not have a lawyer, right? I was just doing business how everybody does business and just saying I have a business. But one of the things that I learned as I was trying to get to the next level, I realized that my foundation was not solid. There were holes in my house that I was trying to build. So, if you can just explain to people exactly when we say start your business or build your foundation right, what are those steps when we're building a business?
Okay, so the first step, which is not legal advice, but this is foundational, is to get into the mindset that this is yours and you are the boss. And I don't mean like the boss when we see it on Instagram, like, oh, we're a boss, whatever. The actually I'm in charge. I am the captain of this ship, right? The decisions that I make steer where this goes. And because we have to get into the mindset of ownership. And so once you understand that you own this thing, whatever it is you're bringing to the market, whether it's entertainment, create content creation, hairstylists, legal service providers, you are in charge, right? You have to be in that mindset, because then you'll realize how important it is that you make those right decisions. If you've ever been employed by anyone, right, you realize there are certain things that they do, there's guidelines that they follow, and that's because it's necessary not only to protect the employee, but to protect the business so that it can grow and that it can sustain the changes that life brings. Like we don't know what the economy will do, we don't know what the pandemic will do, right? But we have to have our solid foundation, and that starts with, in my legal opinion, having a proper business formation, having the right insurance and licenses, depending on the industry that you're in, right? Because those things are the things that will protect the assets that you're trying to attain and build and grow. You want to be able to buy your house and your car and your boat or whatever it is that your dreams are set on, and feel comfortable that they're protected. And so the first step is thinking as an owner, as a leader, and then making the decisions that a leader would make to protect your family, your finances, and your future. So that's what we're here to empower people to do.
Oh, I love that. So it's so much that you said in that short amount of time, but you stressed about number one, the mindset, number two, the leadership, and getting into owning. And I think for a lot of small businesses, we've gotten into this I have a business, but we don't really have ownership. And that does start in our
Mm-hmm.
mind and our heart. And if you start when you're getting started, you're thinking of this is mine, I'm going to see it long term. I always say, think of your business how a farmer thinks about when he's about to grow crops, right? And he plants a seed, with nothing in return, but he sees the end goal. He knows what the end goal is. So he has to keep watering it. And that's where we're the foundation. So that's your leadership. When you're planting the seed
Mm-hmm.
or starting a business, think of a farmer, right? And that's where you want to be. So I love that you said that. And don't forget, this is an
Awesome.
interactive show. So if you have questions for Attorney Browne, put it in the chat. She will be happy to answer them because I'm going to be coming to the chat to check, right? So don't forget, interactive. So, one of the things that I want to ask you, so now that we have the mindset of building a business, what would be the next step that we would want to be going into? Because now our mindset, we're like, we got to own. So, if I have the mindset, what would be the nav on this blueprint? What would be the next step?
So I think I said we want to have the right business formation. So I don't, it's depending on what you're doing, but if we're talking specific to hairstylists and beauty professionals, I don't recommend being a solo entrepreneur without any formal business to shield you from any incidents that may occur. So when I say shield you, I mean having, everyone knows the LLC or, S Corp or whatever is the right business formation for you. That does depend, but something that separates yourself from the business that you're doing.
Mm,
Even if it's just you in the business or you and two others, or a small business is a business and you want to separate yourself from that business
mm,
for the risk purposes, but also for monetary gain, for things that you can then sell under that business for, like I said, the next thing I think after the foundation is licensing. So not just the license to do business, depending on the state that you're in, you may need specific licenses to sell your services or products, whatever it may be. And so that requires some research and then deciding and going after getting the right licenses, but then also owning the brand that you bring to the market
mm,
because we're so creative. I feel that the African American community is so creative, and most trends that you see on all these social media platforms are coming out of creative minds, right? But
mm,
if we don't know that we can copyright certain things and we can trademark certain things, and that in that sense we can control how that gets used and
mm,
monetize it in the future, then we're missing a big chunk of what we're bringing. So we bring all the creativity and then we don't benefit from it. I just don't think that that's what we should be doing. And it's important for our families that we preserve something for them, right? That we create that legacy and that we are able to pass it down. And also knowing that if you have all of those things in place at some point when you're done working, if you want to sell your business, you'll need all of that in order for someone to see it as a viable business to purchase.
mm,
Up to 10, 15, 20 years, whatever your time frames are. You may say, I'm done here and I've created a good following, I've got clientele, I've got a great location. Someone would benefit from all the hard work that you've put in, but without all of those foundational things, it will be very hard for someone to buy it from you or offer you what it's really worth. You'll get an offer, but it won't be consistent with really what you're worth and
mm.
align with your
Wow,
academy
she's
values.
speaking my language now. She's
Yeah.
speaking my language, because there's so much that you unpacked in there. But and I'm gonna reference back to some of the things that you said. But now that we have the ability to know that that's core, selling your business. I don't even think people even realize you want to build something that you can either sell and know what it's worth, right? And I'm
Right.
I'm a big component about knowing your worth. And if your foundation is not strong and you don't know what that's valued then you really can't even see where it's going. So that's super key. And I'm just gonna see who's in the chat because we got some chats going on. So we have Michael Mades. Thank you for joining us. We have Casey. He said, how would you think one should build a self confidence to build that foundation? And so I don't know if that's a question. How would you think one should build the self confidence to build that self foundation? Okay, so that's a question for sure. Then we have Letitia. We're going to get to your question, Casey. All right. Love this ownership mindset. Thank you for joining, Letitia. It's wonderful having you. We have Selena Quinones. She is joining us from New York. And then Samurai asks, as an attorney, what type of insurance do you need in order to practice law?
Okay. Where do you want me to start?
Um, we can start with we'll answer Samurai's and then we can go back to Casey's.
So to practice law, you should have malpractice insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But the license to practice law is gotten from a bar exam and the state reviewing your character and providing your license. So when I say getting a license, that's one of the licenses that are required in order for you to hang your shingle and say you're attorney. It's not just going through law school. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Samurai, let us know if it answered our question. And then we have Casey's. I'll ask it again. It said, how would you think one should build that self confidence to build that foundation?
For me, I am a woman of faith. So for me, it's always rooted in the faith that what God has purposed in my heart is something that is I need to fulfill in the earth. And so when you think of it, for me, from that perspective, you have to take on leadership mindset because God has given me this purpose that I'm charged to fulfill. And so I understand that if I don't meet my purpose, then somebody who needs me may not get what they needed from me, and so that means I have to step into it. But in general, I would also say that if you've ever worked for anyone, then you know what a leader, hopefully a good one, but maybe not. You know what a leader looks like, right? You understand that there sometimes you could be on a path for I worked in IT. I have a extensive IT background, and sometimes we could be on a project path for years, and then someone will come in and say, you know what, we changed your mind, and you have to pivot. That's it. There's not like you might not like it, you grumble, but that's what leaders do. They look at the market, they make decisions, and they move the company. And so know that if you're building a business, you're in charge. You're going to do the same and similar things, and you need to be ready to do that. And that
Yes.
includes taking the precautions and changing if you need to.
So, so key. So, so key. And so I'm going to shift us to back to something that you said. But as we've been talking in this show, we're highlighting African American business. And I think that because we've had this great resonance of people leaving and jumping into entrepreneurship, right? That's beautiful, right? And a statistic I found that according to like the numbers in February 2020, which was the height of the pandemic, since then we've had an uprise of black business starting. We're at 38% of now black owned business. So we're at 1.5 million businesses. And that is a lot in the content creating space, right? So we have a lot that's creating content. We also have, and since I talk to beauty professionals, I'm going to highlight this, that a lot of the black beauty professionals are even joining the content creation space and don't even realize. Instagram, right, is one that's content creation. YouTube, I'm currently on YouTube. That's a content creation space. Something that you do that is vital is covering intellectual property. And that's not something that people really understand. So could you
Right.
explain to us what is intellectual property and then what are the best ways to protect it?
Okay. So intellectual property is really the ideas that you think of in your mind that you create into something. And so that it's a wide variety of things. It can be the photo that you take. It could be the poem that you write. It could be the book that you've written. It could be the dance you create and choreograph, which, when you talk about content creators and all of these platforms, happens quite often. It could be the brand you're building, right? Those are all your intellectual properties, meaning it was something you conceived of and you brought it to the market, and you're known for it, and other people either want to use it, buy it, or emulate it. So broadly, those categories are patents, like something, an invention that is totally new and novel, copyrights, which would the art, photography, the books, written word would kind of fall under, and then trademarks would be like your brand name, your slogan, the logo that you have, maybe even a sound or color, which is very cool, I think. And then also there are trade secrets. So the way that you do business that no one knows is your intellectual property, and you want to protect those trade secrets, keep them a secret. Pretty straightforward. The others are really related to registration with government entities, so that the world is put on notice that you own them and that you have the right to protect them. And then further, if you need to protect them, you can take them to court and receive monetary gain for someone kind of trotting on your intellect, which we call infringement or infringers. So if someone were to take your brand and slogan and try to build the same academy, right? You would have the rights to say, wait a minute, I've been doing that. This is my brand. It's tied to me, and you can't do that. And the registration gives you that extra strength of the law behind you to kind of protect what you're building. And I just want to mention that when we think of what we create in America, it's a lot of creative work that is what we sell, right? What are we known for? Movies, music, entertainment. That's the bulk of what we produce is that creative energy, and that the world is looking for. And so if we don't have the rights to stop infringers, to grow that brand and keep it our own, then we lose out on a lot of what is really our economy, the base of our economy.
Yeah, I mean, and that I think when I learned that so many things get taken away because we're not protected, which I know that there's been so many things in the media that we have read about other small businesses. Um, I know like one of the popular ones was Facebook, right? That was
Yeah.
something that was someone's idea and then it turned into,
Right.
and now this person is a
Hmm.
millionaire. And I'm sure the other
Yeah.
people are feeling some type of way about that. But that is what we need to be clear about. What are we building and then how are we going to protect it? And that goes into ownership, which I love. So, can you explain the difference? Because I know that people have had this question and I've received the question and I even had the question myself. The difference when you see a TM and an R, what are those to
Okay.
be the difference?
Okay, sure. So when you see a TM behind a word or slogan or an image, that's indicating that that's someone's brand or trademark that they are wanting to protect. They're putting us, making us aware that this is theirs, right? When they put, or someone, because we can use other people's brands in our creative content or copyright or whatever. So the TM says someone is behind this brand. It is owned, don't try it on me. It's really like a warning, and but it is not the official registration, which is the full rights when you see the R. And so people who, when you see anyone using an R behind their slogan, name, look, image, it's that they've gone through the registration, federal registration process for a trademark. They've been granted that registration right, and they have the full breadth of rights to basically sue you, stop you, um, and or transfer those rights, license those rights, sell those rights as there's also positives to it. So the R is when you've got the full registration. The TM is either you're in the process or you want to rely on what we call common law rights. So what
That's
that means
good.
is
That's so good.
what that okay, good. So what that means is whenever you create something, you own it. Um, but the protection is where the registration process comes in, right? Because the levels are different. If you want to be able to defend and go to court, and not have a long, protracted 8-year battle that's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, you want to have that registration in place. So um, you can put the TM as soon as you create something if you are building a brand behind it. When that puts people on notice that you're building a brand behind it and that you intend to go the next step. But you can't use the R until you've been granted the registration rights from the federal government. So
Got
that's
it.
the difference.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. And I don't think that a lot of times, even when we meet with attorneys, they are not taking the time to educate us on exactly what that is. So if you need to replay that back, take that clip and be like, okay, this is the difference, right? Because I've gotten that question so many times, and that is so great that you were able to help us with understanding that. So I know
Sure.
for most beauty professionals, they're like, I don't need to trademark anything, or even content creators. They're just like, I
Mm-hmm.
put up on videos on YouTube and it's not a big deal. It's my name, my YouTube is under my name, but they have
Mm-hmm.
millions of followers, right? And they might even be making money online, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
own that platform, right? And so I keep having this conversation about if you have an idea and it's out to the masses and you have a huge following or even a small following. So I don't want to just highlight that it's such a large following. But if it's a small following or a large following, one of the things that I hear a lot, especially for young creators that's putting out content, whether it's hair content or it's makeup content, and they come out with their own makeup line or cosmetic line or blow dries, whatever it is, they are just starting to get into everything, but they're not protected, right? And so, what do we say to those people to make sure that they're clear about how it can be taken away like that?
Yeah, first we say stop. Stop what you're doing. Take a minute and think about how you would feel if tomorrow you couldn't do anything that you were doing because someone had stolen it out from under you. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, it's never too late to do the right thing. If you've been in business for 5 years, 1 month, 85 months, whatever the time frame, it's never too late to say, you know what, I want to make sure that I can have a legacy here. I know now, maybe you didn't know when you started where you were really going with it, or how long, or how big, or how, how engaged you would be with this endeavor. Like, how long am I really going to be doing this? Sometimes people are just in it for 6 months, but if you know that what you're doing, or you start to see that this is really something, then you need to turn around and go the other way. So that's what I would say immediately. Stop. You need to take assessment of what IP do you have, and how can you further monetize it. So if you've makeup line, think makeup line. If you want to be in Target or Sally's or Walmart, you're gonna need those protections. You're gonna need trademark registrations. You may need some trade secrets to involving your formulas. I don't depending on how you've done it, you're gonna want to have customs and borders be able to say this is a fraudulent dupe. We're not letting it in the country. And you're not going to be able to do that without a trademark registration. Um,
Wow.
so there's a lot of benefits to it. I actually have a free ebook that you can go to my link or my bio or my website and download, and it just tells you like 10 things that you can do with the trademark registration that you won't be able to do, and specific to create content creators. Um, if you've got somebody pretending to be you, right? Because we know that when people love you and they love what you do, they'll buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll if you were gaining popularity and in a relationship with followers online and digital following, if you say, oh, I've got a t-shirt, or oh, I've got there, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I don't get that, I want to support this person. You don't want someone to take your goodwill and pretend to be you, and then leave a very sour taste in your platforms, feeling about you, and then kind of disintegrate all the work that you've put in.
Mm.
And most of these platforms with a registration either for your name or your brand or whatever it is that you're doing will immediately shut down any other copycats. They won't do that without the registration, because they're not in the business of being your lawyer, right? They're not going to get in the middle. But if you have some legal standing, then they're like, okay, let's close this down and then we'll review it. They're
Mm.
not there's not going to be a lot of talk about, well, who's the first, or whose right is it, when you've got the paperwork to prove it.
Mm.
And that has happened. I have had clients, this is not like a scenario that I made up out of the air, like where people pretend to be you and scam your fan base. Now your fan base is not really messing with you the way they were, and you've let someone do that to people that you probably never wanted that to happen to, right? You didn't build
Mm.
this genuine relationship with folks to have them scam.
Mm.
And it is a lot. The scams are up. So
Said the scams are up. So you
the
heard that.
scams are up.
And it's because it's so easy now, right? You got TikTok, you have
Yeah.
Instagram, our faces are everywhere. I mean, including myself. And y'all want to protect my name, my image, or anything like that. I have children. I'm thinking about their legacy, my husband. It's all of those things that you're thinking of, but you're not really understanding that there are going to be people who want to take your identity just because of what it looks
Yes.
like, right? And
Yep.
so we have some questions. I want to make sure I go to the chat and answer your guys' questions. So just to see who's in the chat, we have Courtney. Thank you for joining, Courtney. We have Michael Modest. He said, wow, I had no idea. Thank you. So the information that you're giving, he had no idea. And I think he's talking about the part about the trademark versus the registration. All right, Samurai
Okay.
has a question. He says, as a small business owner, should you have an attorney on retainer?
Okay. Um, yes. As an attorney, I would say yes, but I understand that that can be daunting, and depending on where you are in your process, like building this business brand into your dreams, you may think that I don't have the money for it, I can't afford it at this point. But I would say to you that, well, two things. First of all, it will always cost you more to fight in court than it will to do preventative measures up front.
Mm.
Always, because it just is what it is. But the other thing is, you really can get an attorney um, for a limited engagement if you don't feel that you have the funds right now to pay a monthly retainer and keep them, at your call, or maybe you don't have the business yet that you feel like you need them every month. You need to be able to meet with them, confer, plan, consult. That's when I feel like your retainer is most important, but you should always have an attorney you can contact.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do, especially with our firm, what you can do is limited engagements. So you say, hey, I know I need to do 80 things. Can you tell me what that would cost? We come up with a plan with you. We do an assessment and we give you a roadmap. And then you say, okay, I can do this right now and I want to do this in 4 months. And we'll do that. We do limited engagements and we help you do the things that are really like what I like to call a red circle, like that stoplight. You need to do this right now, especially with what your plans are. It can't wait. I know a lot of times we think, oh, I'll get to it later, but there are some things that need to be in place for you to get to later. So we'll do that assessment with you. So yes, I do think that you should, but I also think you should call one. You can call us, but you should call one that you feel comfortable with and see what they can do for you, on a limited basis until you're at that position, if you're not at that position right now.
That's good. So I know for me, if I have a question, I'm like, does this sound right? And one of our good friends that's usually a part of the show, she had a show a couple of weeks ago and talked about, just the key components of people that you need when you're in business. And a lawyer was one, accountant is one. And I always say it's very, very, very important to at least have one that you can call. And that's why I thought it was so important to actually share my platform with you, because I think people need to know that she looks like you, she sounds like you, and she got you. And I think sometimes you need someone that can speak to you in layman's terms, because a lot of people use such big language when you're going to meet an attorney, and it doesn't make sense to the average mind, right? That's not an attorney. And so that sometimes scares people away. So I wanted to make sure that as we're celebrating Black history, this is a part of it, right? How do we
Right.
protect it? So I love that you put it in layman's terms. And I know for me, if I have a question, you break it down almost Barney style, and you're super patient. So I have to have to tell
Thank you.
everybody she's super super patient, because I have some of the questions are probably ridiculous, but because I'm
No,
helping so many different people, I need to be clear. And that's the beautiful thing. And I, don't try to abuse her time too, because time is precious. We have another question. Selena asks, are influencers protected, or can they be? Like she said, for an example, fashion, makeup, hair tutorials. Could those be protected?
yes, they can be, and so there's various ways. I would say influencers, depending on the notoriety or the level of influence with your name, right? If you can use that name as a brand. So Angelica D. Prather is a name that is known and is going to continue to grow. At some point, when you're getting to the level where you have your own show, but you're attending, your other people want to book you on their shows, and it becomes more consistent. So depending on the level of influence or how long you've been doing it, and we would kind of go through that with you. You can protect your name. So names are harder to protect, but it's definitely something that is done, and I can throw out a half a dozen names right now, and you would go, okay, for sure, they certainly have a trademark, and no one else is going to take their website with that domain, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But without the registered trademark, I suggest that if you're building a brand around your name, that you get the domain. And you get it on several what they call top level domains, so .net, .com, .us, what have you. And they're not that expensive, but if you're building a brand around your name, so you're going to do engagements, or you're going to send your followers or your community to this site to be able to get XYZ, whatever it is that you may offer, to see your latest video, to see your latest tutorial, then I would suggest, grabbing that domain if it's available. And so you build that kind of notoriety around that. Try to make sure that all of your brand is the same across platforms, because then when you get ready to get the registered trademark, it'll make that approval process that much more of a slam dunk. And then if you're building a fashion line or a makeup line, or you got a custom way, a new and novel way to do hair, or a hair tie. So then those are all can fall under either copyright, trademark, or patent protection. It just depends on what it is that you're doing. So definitely you can be protected. The designs on a handbag are something that can be protected. And because we know them, that if you think of it that way, when you see two G's or you see some C's or you see there's certain designs when you see them, you actually know exactly what that brand is and what it means to you, whether it's quality, luxury, etc. So those things are protectable for certain.
Hey, are we still there? You guys are still with us live. We had a little technical difficulties, but give us a second. Attorney Browne was dropping some knowledge, so give me some time. But while we are waiting for her to log back in, we have Courtney. We have Courtney Prather in the chat. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We have Nigel Brown. He says, "Thank you for the information. I'm trying to build my career as an artist, and these protections are beneficial and will save me time in the long run." We hear you. We totally hear you. And we are so grateful for Attorney Browne dropping this knowledge. We have Tiffany Candace that says this is perfect for Black history. And I couldn't agree with you more. This is vital, right? It's so vital when we're talking about business, right? And our Black businesses at that. We want to make sure that whatever it is that we are doing, that we are protected. So I'm going to bring Attorney Browne back onto the stage and make sure that we're all good, okay? And she was definitely giving us some goodness, and we want to make sure that we are still getting that goodness, okay? So give us 1 second, because I definitely want to make sure that she is giving us everything that we need, right? So let me bring her back up to the stage. Here we go. All right, we just had a little technical difficulty, but that's all right. Can
Hey.
you hear us? Okay, good. All right, so she was
Yeah.
in the middle of telling us how we could protect ourselves if we are in the beauty space, right? And that applies
Mhm.
to anyone. The information that she's giving us is vital to all businesses. And we want to make sure that we're protecting our Black businesses or small
Yeah.
businesses. I mean, even though we're highlighting African American businesses, I really want you to stress that this is business information across the board and that it's not something that's small, right? If you have a
Right.
business, you want to be able to protect it. Okay. Something you said before we even came on, you gave a statistic, and I think that the
Hmm.
people need to hear this information because while we are starting different things, and I know when I'm getting started in business, it was sometimes you want to quit, right?
Hmm.
You get tired, you get burnt out because you might not have the resources like other businesses. But that shouldn't stop us from getting there. But you gave a statistic, and I don't want to botch it up. I want you, because you have the stats about what Black businesses like, where we see ourselves financially by a certain year. So give us that
Okay.
information.
So there's been a couple of studies, and beginning in 2017 is when I first saw it, and they've been done even up until 2021. And the studies are showing that the predicted net worth of the Black family in America will be zero by 2053.
You said zero.
Zero.
And why do you think that? Like, I know that's a statistic that you didn't do, but when we're
Right.
hearing a number zero, that's no money. That's actually kind of
Right.
scary. And
It
I'm
is.
thinking when we're all working, especially when we hear numbers like we're on an uphill of entrepreneurship being such a wonderful, oh, we're having technical difficulties, guys. She's going to come back on. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So if we have any questions, drop them in the chat so that we can definitely get you guys your questions answered. Don't worry. We're going to bring her back on. Make sure everything is good. All right. So let's get. So I was saying, why are we hearing the number zero? Because that's a little scary when we hear zero. We want to make sure that we're hearing, some like at least $1 million. But you said the
Yeah, I
number
think
zero.
overall it has to do with ownership overall. So I'm not an economist and I don't want to misspeak, um, you know, but it overall it has to do with ownership. So,
Mm.
um, right, your net worth is your debt to income and assets. It's not just income, it's assets. So it doesn't mean that we won't be working or we won't be getting a paycheck, but will we have assets that outweigh whatever we owe? And for me, in the space that I'm in, that's why I'm so big on legacy and ownership, right? Because that's the year that I started my firm, and I was like, wow, I know that we're bringing the things
Mm,
that everyone wants to the market. Why wouldn't we have asset if we're bringing all the things? And so it to me, it said this is a lack of ownership. This is a lack of protection of the assets and building assets that we can
mm,
pass down. Um, but yeah, that scares me. That drives me to,
mm.
and I think I want to empower every entrepreneur and creator and innovator that comes into my sphere to beat that. And that's every entrepreneur, but specifically the community I come from. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, as I said earlier in the show, why are we in business? To leave a legacy. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, is your legacy that your business shut down because you don't have the
Right.
mindset of ownership, or is your legacy going to be, that you left something behind? And whether that's monetary or that's just an imprint, whether it be faith, whether it be whatever it shall
Right.
be, make sure that you're very clear on the legacy that your business is trying to go. And that doesn't mean where you start doesn't mean that you might have several
Yes.
businesses, right? And that might keep
Right.
going. And that's
Yep.
okay, right? It's totally fine for you to
Absolutely.
have several businesses, but make sure that when you're starting something, you have that mindset of where am I going and where am I trying to go, right? And so I know that we're like getting ton on time, but I'm like, I got more questions. We might have a part
Okay.
two to this. She just don't know
Okay.
yet.
Yeah.
Because there's so many questions that can come in that as I'm thinking about, just so many people that have even brought questions to me that I'm not knowledgeable on. I'm like, oh, she would have the answer, right? So she has all the secret sauce. But before we like are starting to wrap up, what is something you want to leave people that are starting a business, or maybe they're in business and they don't know, should I trademark? Maybe my idea is not that great, or am I going to stick with it? Whatever it is when it comes to your business. And I speak for beauty professionals, influencers. I don't care where you are, if you're a nonprofit, or you're starting a new home, whatever it is that you want to do. When should they start? Because I know that's what I came to you for. I was like, hey, I'm on to something. Should I trademark this? And you were like, absolutely. And I was like, well, where do I start? Right. And I think
Yeah.
that's so key. So give us your blueprint on that.
Okay. So I think that the first thing that I would suggest is that if you do some internal digging and decide, like, is this something that is a short term thing, right? Am I just in and out, or do I want to build something over even a year or two? If it's more than that, then you want to think about, well, how can I protect this thing I'm building? Then I also would say, it's a very simple question people always ask, well, when should I trademark? The minute that you don't want someone else to steal it from you.
Ooh.
That's the moment. If you feel comfortable with someone else taking it and running off with it, then don't worry about it. That's it's like when it's that essential or down to that bare essence, it's really quick yes or no, and so that helps guide what you should be doing next, I think, and then get a consultation. And we offer free consultations, and I'm sure other attorneys do, or maybe they charge a nominal fee. That whatever. I want people to get the knowledge that they need to make an informed decision, which is
Yes.
why I don't mind when you ask questions or anyone else. I try to be as I want not only for you to make the decision with us so that we help you partner on your journey towards success, but that when you don't call us, that you kind of know, okay, according to what I'm trying to do, maybe this isn't the right, turn for me to make.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah, those are the things I would say. Think about if you don't care if someone else takes it. Think about how long am I, what am I really trying to build here? Is it a year long endeavor or a 2 3 month endeavor? And then think about reaching out for counseling. Things like
So you heard it there, y'all. When you think someone's gonna steal your stuff or you care, get a trademark. So
that.
before
Yeah.
we are like wrapping up, I do want to ask, what are the services that you offer? Because some people are like, okay, what do you offer? Is where I am in my journey, do I need to trademark or whatever? So just run down a few of the main things that you offer for entrepreneurs or big businesses.
Okay, yeah. So some of the things that we offer are, obviously, we do trademark registration, copyright registration. So we help you to figure out what your IP is, file the applications, and see them through to the end, including hopefully not, but including if there's any like trial that needs to occur to defend your mark, which we would assess as we meet with you, and or your copyright. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of contract review. So a lot of times people are going into business and doing things on a handshake, which I never recommend. Not because people, a handshake could work, but the chances are it couldn't, and then you have no recourse. So we do a lot of those types of things: contract review, contract drafting, your terms and conditions. There's so many things that everyone's on the web, but do you know that you need a privacy policy or you could be fined? You have to tell people what you're doing with their data, and you have to be able to give them a way to stop collecting their data. Those are two very important things. So we do a lot of those, and also when it comes to creatives, we help you kind of negotiate those terms, and we can do it all the way through, or you can come to us with a deal and say, hey, I don't even know, I just want to sing, or I just want to take these photos. Like, can you just tell me, like, am I supposed to sign this? And we can just go through it with you to explain the terms so that you understand before you dot the line. So those are some of this, and we do a lot more services. A lot of them are you can find on the website and kind of go through and get an idea of what we offer. And for the bigger businesses that are more established, we do what we call an IPF council, which is basically we handle all of your intellectual property needs for an annual fee. And that means that we follow your cease and desist, we monitor your brand in the market, we partner with other folks on your behalf to license and lease. We do anything that relates to your intellectual property as your counsel. So you have an attorney and a team that you can go to for the entire year, and we monitor everything on your behalf. And those are for the businesses that are a little more established, have a little more equity in the game, because it's a more extensive service. But that is also something that we offer.
Awesome. So I wanted to make sure that we knew what you offered, because she not only helps big businesses, she helps small entrepreneurs. And that is vital when you are just getting started, right? So she can help you when you're at the ground level. Maybe you're just a baby company, or you are even 5 years and you still feel like you're a baby company. She is able to help you in all aspects of your business. And I can't thank her enough, because she saved me some headache and some stress and some worry, because I do want to protect what I'm putting out. And also the people that I'm also helping, I want them to protect and see themselves and start thinking in ownership. Because I always say your greatest years is when you are actually putting out something into the marketplace. You are literally birthing purpose. Whether you don't even feel like you're walking it out, you are birthing purpose. And when you're birthing purpose, it should be protected. Because it's the God-given gift that he's actually given you. So protect it, right? So tell the folks where they can connect with you, because she does a lot and she offers a lot too. So tell us where people can either find you and connect with you, and tell them what you have to offer. She has something that she offers for everybody.
Okay, awesome. So yes, you can find me pretty much on all the socials, but specifically on Instagram, it's A Browne Esquire. ESQ, so ABROWNE, ESQ. And I'm like that pretty much everywhere. Also, you can contact us through our website, which is lawwhereyouare.com. So as I said earlier, we meet you when you meet us where you are. That's the theme, lawwhereyouare.com. You can go through, check out our services, fill out a contact form, purchase some contracts, do what you need to. And also, we have a service that I mentioned offline, off camera, which is an IP assessment. So what we do is we will take a look. It's a 90-minute kind of meetup. We go through with all of anything you want to share with us. I ask you a series of very pointed questions. It'll be relaxed. There's nothing like interrogating, but the questions will draw out what it is that you have and what you're planning to do. And then we provide you with a very comprehensive report to basically give you a roadmap on how to proceed with your IP to protect it, like what you need to do immediately. We even give you like a color coded, like red, okay, you need to do this right now. Yellow, this is like urgent, but you can follow it up after the red. And green is like, okay, these are your future plans, and put that on your map. Budget for it, plan for it, whatever it is that you need to do. Don't neglect to do it, but it's not today's mission. So we provide that as the output, and that you can book on our website if you want. It's called the IP assessment, and I think we've had quite a few entrepreneurs who just didn't know where to begin, especially those who are multifaceted and they have many businesses. It becomes a lot for them to kind of wrap their arms around all, what is it that I have? Which part do I need to protect? So we'll go through that with you and give you that assessment and give you kind of a roadmap to go forward.
Awesome. So we're going to
Yeah.
link that in the description of this video because I think that that's so vital for if you don't know where you are. I haven't heard a lot of lawyers offering even that, to just say, this is what you need to do first. This is where you need to do next. You need a roadmap. That's a blueprint. And so if you desire to have longevity and owning your business, you need a roadmap, and that is vital. Being able to see it and being able to articulate where you're going next helps you to not be a hamster on a wheel and you're just running. So I love that. Ajako, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to share your knowledge, your wisdom, all of the information. I feel like I'm gonna have to go back and take even notes from myself, even though I can call you, but still take some notes so that I can just be able to articulate it better. And I feel like you give it to us in such a good, and I don't want to say Barney style, but it's easy to comprehend. I can digest it without feeling like I need to know a whole bunch of big words. So I just want to take the time to thank you so much. So we're going to wait backstage and then we're going to take a commercial break and then I'll close us out. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
All righty.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. Hi, I'm Angelica Prather. I've been a hairstylist for 17 years, so I know exactly what it takes to run a business. But I wanted to step up and show up and support my own community so they can start charging their worth. No longer are we on the struggle bus. Nobody has time for that. So I've created Charge Your Worth Academy. You have me teaching you one-on-one in a group coaching setting, implementing the systems and strategies, the recipe to really win financially. Nobody's on a broke wheel. But if you're ready to charge your worth and you're tired of figuring it out all by yourself, this is how you can join. Go to my website, which is angelicaprather.com. And if you happen to be here right now, there is a button down below. Click that button and be ready to join. And so just a little bit of tip. You also get a complimentary 100% free income strategy call. And so what that is you're just talking to me one-on-one, getting to know where you are, where you desire to go, and what's missing from your business. And if you're a perfect fit, you'll join the program. I'll see you soon. All right, wasn't that a good episode full of knowledge, full of things to help you guys win? We're in the beginning of 2022, and I don't know about you. You have to do business completely different. I mean, we're all planning, and I know when I speak to so many entrepreneurs, which I'm blessed to even have these conversations, I realize that there's something missing, and I know that this was the conversation that has come up that's missing, and that's vital for us to all win, thinking in ownership. So if you have caught us live, I want to thank you again for joining us. We are here every Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those who joined us live, thank you again. And for those who's going to catch the replay, put #replay and share with someone. That's the only way we're going to get this information going. Attorney Browne was amazing, giving us such vital information. So I want to leave you with this. Believe in ownership. Invest in yourself and build a foundation, a strong foundation. And you want to teach your Black children the importance of ownership over employment, community over individualism, and cooperation over competition. That is how we're going to win in our business, okay? The next generation is looking up to us, and we have a responsibility. That is what legacy is all about. So I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.